Namaste. I am Gloria Grace Rand here with another edition of Live, Love, Engage, coming to you live on Facebook and YouTube right now. And I am delighted to be with you, especially because I almost wasn't going to be. Yeah, I really was having second thoughts about doing a podcast episode today because I didn't have any ideas. It's been a weird week. It's Wednesday as I'm recording this, and I don't know, I've been just kind of feeling out of sorts, and today's daily word actually gave me the idea for the podcast today because it was something that it's part of the love method that I teach. And it was just a perfect one. And I decided that that's what I'm going to talk about today because it was perfect. So I'm actually going to start off today. Normally I read the daily word later on, but I'm going to share today's daily word, which is let go and let God. And it is from October 19th, 2022. And the affirmation is, I do my best and release the rest. And it says, feeling as though I am in control of my life may give me security and comfort, but I also understand there can be wisdom in relaxing and releasing that control. As I make my plans, I envision the perfect outcome, but if plans or circumstances change, I'm willing to adjust them. I do not rigidly hold on to what I consider the perfect plan. As I let it go, I accept there is another way and welcome the idea that what I thought would be best is evolving into a new, even better outcome. It may take time for the full fruition of a new plan to unfold or for me to see the good in it, but I am committed to practicing patience, acceptance, and trusting in divine timing and the presence of God in and through all things. And then the scripture reading is from Psalm 19:14. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. So what really struck me today was that there can be wisdom in relaxing and releasing that control. And I will tell you that that is something that has been a recurring theme in my life, really about probably the last few weeks. I have been one of the things I love to do is look at oracle cards, and I've got an oracle card deck that's called the Star Seed Oracle. It's by Rebecca Campbell, and I've been it would be like, every couple weeks or so, I would go to pull up a card, and sometimes I would do like one card, maybe sometimes I'd do three cards. But oftentimes, the card that would come up would be this one. It says, Breath of the Cosmos. And underneath it, it says, My will to thy will, micromanaging the universe. and essentially the reading talks about the need to let go and let God. It doesn't say it in those words, but that's really what it means, is to stop trying to impose your will and to just relax a bit. And actually, let me see what else it said here. It says, oh yeah, so it says we're resisting the natural flow of life when we're trying to micromanage the universe. So instead, you're being called to move from my will to thy will, which is something also that I've been hearing in some other things. But it says, when you surrender to the greater will of life, you begin dancing with the rest of life. And when you bow to the great mystery and say, please use me, please show me the way, little by little, you find yourself living your most fulfilling, authentic life. So, and there's more to it than that, but it has been interesting. And I've been really making an effort to do that, but even in making the effort, that sounds contradictory because it sounds like I'm struggling again. Um, But I will do that. I will in my meditation, I will, you know, offer it to God and say, "It's not my will, but thy will." And it's not always easy, it's really not. So it is something to be conscious about. And if you're finding that you are also trying to control things and really micromanage the universe, is a better way to say it, but really not trusting in that fact and and realizing that, things will happen and things do, plans change and circumstances come up and they can throw a wrench in the works. And when you do let go and let God, wonderful things can happen. And I've also seen that because again, even as I've been sort of waffling back and forth, there have been things that I have just let go. And then cool things happen. So case in point, my the speakers on my laptop are not working as efficiently as they used to, and so I put a call in. I've got it. It's still under warranty, thank goodness. And so I, in the meantime, was also trying to buy an external speaker. Bought one yesterday. It was bad. It was worse than what I had, so I took it back to the store. And because especially I did that before I even realized that I was still under warranty on my laptop. Anyway, long story short, I checked on the warranty repair, and so they had ordered a part, and it was expected that next week I'd be hearing from a technician and to be able to get my computer repaired. Well, lo and behold, phone I got a phone call a short while before I went started this podcast today, and the repair person is ready to come out this afternoon. So that's, to me, is a good example of just letting go, trusting that everything is going to work out, and then it does. So that's what I encourage you to do today. And it's interesting that I also drew another card today because I wanted to see what message the universe had for me today. And this one was interesting. It came up and this is from the same deck, and it says it's the weight of the world. Boundaries, let it go. It's not yours to carry. So it's still sort of in that same vein of letting go, letting go and letting God, and not trying to um, not trying to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders, to be able to set boundaries. And boundaries is something very important, because you can't do it all, and some things aren't yours to carry. It's enough to be able to manage our own stuff. And when we try to then carry somebody else's problems or somebody else's issues on our shoulders, that can get really heavy. And that's where you really do need to look at it and say, okay, what is mine and what is this other person's to deal with? And then do that, to be able to have that boundary and not feel that you have to take care of everybody. And you can still take care of others, but the way to do that is by taking care of yourself first. It really does start with doing that, because if you are letting other people's burdens get on you, then it can really become a true, not only an emotional and a mental burden, but it can also become a physical burden, because sometimes it can lead you to become stressed, or which then can cause other problems. You can become run down and you can start becoming ill, physically ill. So it's so important to be able to focus in on what's yours. Focus in on what's yours, but also don't micromanage the universe. So that's my other lesson for us today. Need to take a sip of tea. It's it's cool in Florida this morning. And so, for those of you listening may not since you can't see me, but I'm actually wearing a long a sweater on top of a shirt with long sleeves, and the air conditioning is not on. I've got the door open. So, it's lovely and cool here today. We're finally having that taste of fall weather. Um, let's see. So what else do we wanna focus on with this reading today? Um, oh, yeah, the other point here is that when you can let go, when to not rigidly hold on to what you consider a perfect plan, and to accept there's another way, and sometimes it can be an even better outcome. And I have definitely had that happen in my life as well, and I think that is so important to keep in mind, is that you can have the best laid plans, and then something can happen to throw a kink in it, and then you think, "Oh, darn, it's not gonna work out." And yet, oftentimes, what happens is that something better comes out of that, and then you can look back and go, "Oh, thank goodness that didn't happen the way I had wanted it to, because it wouldn't have led me to this position." So, uh, I know this happened to me one time when I was planning a workshop, and the date, um, didn't go right, and I wasn't able to have it when I wanted to, and then when it finally did happen, it was perfect. It really did turn out perfectly. So that's another reason why it's good to be able to create plans, because you definitely need to be able to create plans, and you still have to take action, because I think that's also sometimes. Yeah, this is a good point, is that it's not necessarily that you let go and let God and don't do anything. You still have to be in action to be able to achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Where the letting go comes from is just letting go of attachment to the outcome of how it's going to turn out, and just trusting that as long as you keep moving and you keep doing the things that need to be done, and course correcting along the way as maybe needed, because if things happen and you've got to, maybe this person isn't available, so now you got to find somebody else, or whatever it is. Sometimes things happen. To be flexible. Yeah, that's what I want to say. To be flexible and just trust that eventually what you want is going to happen the way you want it, or perhaps even a better way than you wanted it. And when things don't work out at all, and sometimes that happens, things will just fail, to just say, okay, what can I learn from that? Because there are always lessons to be learned. Because things aren't always going to turn out the way we planned, even when we let go and let God. And that's okay, as long as you keep moving forward and you keep trying. And that's the important thing, is to just keep going. Keep going, and don't give up. The old saying, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And there's some wisdom to that, because things don't always do succeed. Something, because especially, you could have all of the best intentions, and everything you do on your end is, you do it the way you wanted it, and it turns out, or everything is as you planned, and then something else happens that you have no control over, and then it fails. So it's in those circumstances then where you have to really go, okay, well, I don't know why that didn't work out, even though I did everything I could, but for whatever reason, it wasn't meant to be at this point. But then you just pick it up and you do again. And yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say about that today. So I um I hope you appreciate and will take to heart the message of letting go and letting God, and really apply that in your life. And so what I'm going to do right now, today's episode is going to be a little bit shorter, and that's okay. I feel it's okay. But I am going to share a light language message with you today, because that is something that I am blessed with the ability to do. And I believe, well, number one, it helps me, and I trust it helps you as much as it helps me. And it's it really is a way of healing your heart. And so it's my intention today that this message that comes through for you will help you to be able to let go and let God, and to put more of your faith in that higher power. I call it God. You can call it whatever you want, but that's what I call it. And as always, if you are listening to this recording and you're listening while you're driving, you might want to pause it and come back to it later, where you can just really take it in, be able to perhaps close your eyes and just listen to what the message that comes through, and allow it to touch your soul, and yeah, allow it to touch your soul today and communicate the message of love and light that is intended for you. Okay. Konya kushina ke saliotoe akonyoro ekahe sanyone akosi koyano heano ke haso uchana yote ason yoko heane oko huso koyano e ason koe ae ho sanya kofu ake yoshi otoe ae asokonya ke ako oyon no kikase hano ekoe aso yoshona eko ano ekahe hake Okake koyo ano yo sekaya oya no koko yatasha nake ano yo siko ano eko shate ha ano ikake asoko yo no koishakati yataki okoyo no shikari odota Sakoshin no korea tatayaka, ano korea buto koyata tisha kayonoka, hekashuko yanaki ano hiata, yeshato korea papa, ano koreata kusha kayata, inkariata, yeshata kiyota, hekashakoniyo no kukapana kiyata, yesi kano diga, okoniyo no kikalieta, tika shikata kiyata, Asakoriya no korea bata yo korea tati ati shashoto to korea bata. Ekoriya no korea bati ganindo to tu kali ati shakato korea tate. Osoko no korea no kia tata yo shota kia ta. Ekaliya no korea bati shato to korea ta. Eshako de kani no korea tati ka yo no korea bati shakari kuka. Ekan no shikoto to hishakatiga. Ekoto to shikata. Kushakariata. Well, thank you so much for watching today and for listening. And I also wanted to just share with you briefly, especially if you are a soulful woman listening to this today or watching us on YouTube, that I wanted to invite you to join a new Facebook group that I have started. It's called the Soulful Women's Network. And if you just go to Facebook and search for Soulful Women's Network, I'm sure you'll find it. And it's a group that I'm opening up to really women of all ages and stages of life. And whether you can be an entrepreneur, you can be a retiree, you could be a stay-at-home mom, but it's a place where we can come together and serve and support one another and uplift each other, because that's what we need in this world is more people lifting each other up. And so I hope you will come and check us out. I would love to have you there. And also, if you ever wanted to have a private light language session with me, or you'd like to talk a little bit more about letting go and letting God, maybe you got some challenges doing that, you can go to engagewithgloria.com, and that'll takes you right to my calendar page, or you can book an appointment with me and let's have a chat and see how I can serve and support you in that. So I hope you will do that. And I think that's probably going to do it for this edition of Live, Love, Engage. And I hope wherever you are today that you are letting go of stress, and that you are letting your higher self come through and be able to take good care of yourself, and so that you can take care of others. Until next time, as always, I encourage you to go out today and every day and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.